It wasn't just a murder, it was a message. Nuck's death in episode 12 shook the streets of Chicago not because he died, but how he died and when. In a world where everyone plays dirty, his murder felt too sudden, too clean, and too quiet. That's what makes it suspicious. The question isn't just who killed him, it's why now? And what are they covering up? The moment the episode began, tension was already in the air. Nuck had been spiraling, his grip on power slipping fast. The people around him no longer feared him the same way. His enemies were getting louder, his allies more distant. In the final scenes before his death, Nuck seemed restless. His eyes weren't sharp anymore. He looked like a man who knew his time was running out. His final appearance wasn't dramatic, and that's what made it so chilling. He wasn't in the middle of a gunfight or a power move. He wasn't screaming orders or threatening anyone. Instead, he was caught off guard. That's rare for someone like Nuck. He was either alone or with someone he trusted, and that's the key detail most fans overlooked. The show didn't show the killer directly. All we saw was the aftermath. Blood, silence, and the way the camera lingered not on his body but on the shadows around him. That wasn't just good filming. It was a hint. Whoever killed him did it fast and clean. There were no witnesses, no mess, no sound. It was personal. The location wasn't random either. It wasn't a trap out in the open. It was somewhere that meant something. Maybe a neutral zone. Maybe a safe place. That suggests betrayal, the kind that only comes from someone close. A bullet from a stranger is noisy. A bullet from a friend? That's quiet and deadly. After the body is discovered, the episode doesn't give us time to breathe. Everyone reacts differently, but notice this. Some people act to calm. That's not grief. That's guilt. And just like that, the real mystery begins. It's no longer about what happened. It's about who knew it was going to happen. In a show like The Kai, no death is without purpose. Nuck's murder wasn't random. It was surgical, precise, planned. And now, we begin to peel back the layers. Because the killer didn't just pull a trigger, they flipped the balance of power in Chicago. Someone wanted Nuck dead, and not just out of revenge, but for strategy. This wasn't street chaos. This was chess. So let's look at the players. First up, Douda. He might be the most obvious suspect, but that's exactly why we have to look twice. Douda and Nuck had a strange relationship. There was loyalty, but it was cold business, not brotherhood. Recently, Nuck had been getting reckless, making moves that weren't smart. In Douda's world, weak links get cut. And let's not forget, Douda's got a reputation to protect. If Nuck became a liability, taking him out quietly may have been a move to clean house. But here's the twist: Douda doesn't usually get his hands dirty. He sends others. That means if it was him, he used someone else to do it. Now Emmett. This one's more emotional. Emmett's arc this season has been about stepping up, protecting his family, becoming a man with control over his life. Nuck represented danger to everything Emmett was trying to build. Their tension had been rising. Words were exchanged. Threats were made. Emmett isn't a killer, not yet. But desperate men do desperate things. Could he have pulled the trigger? Maybe not directly. But maybe he asked someone to. Quietly. Then there's Rob. He's smooth, calm, and quiet, but don't let that fool you. Rob's had to deal with Nuck too. And Rob plays the long game. He doesn't explode. He waits. If he thought Nuck was going to bring heat down on him or Tiffany, that's enough reason to act. Rob's style is clean, strategic. Just like the hit, Tiffany herself is another shadowy figure. She's had to survive in a world where trust is dangerous. And Nuck? He never really saw her as a threat. That could have been his mistake. Some fans believe she may have set Nuck up not to kill him herself, but to get someone else to do it. If she did, she played it perfectly. She's grieving, but not too much. And finally, the wild card. A face we've overlooked. Maybe a minor character, maybe someone we thought was just background noise. That's how the Kai works. They show you the gun, but they don't show you who loaded it. Could it be Bakari trying to make a name? Or someone from the streets with a silent grudge? Every one of these suspects had motive. Some had personal reasons. Others had business reasons. But one thing's clear: whoever did it didn't just kill Nuck. They flipped the script. And now, Chicago is wide open. Sometimes the truth isn't loud. It whispers. And the Kai has always been clever about that. If you go back and rewatch key moments from this season, you'll notice something strange. The signs were always there. We just weren't paying attention. One of the first clues came several episodes back, when Nuck had a quiet but intense conversation with Douda. It seemed routine, maybe even respectful. But there was a shift. Nuck interrupted Douda mid-sentence, and the camera froze on Douda's face for just a second too long. That wasn't random. It was a sign, a crack in their bond. And in the Kai, when someone stops listening to Douda, they usually don't last long. Then there was Emmett's dream sequence 2 episodes before the finale. Many brushed it off as a filler moment, but dreams reveal fear. In that scene, Emmett was looking in the mirror and behind him was blood on the floor. No body, just blood. It was quick, and it was edited to feel confusing. But that blood? It was a warning. Something violent was coming, and Emmett was at the edge of it. Let's talk about the music. In Nuck's final episode, the background score dropped to silence twice. First when Nuck walked into the hallway just minutes before his death. Second when he made a phone call that no one picked up. That silence was unnatural. No city, noise, no footsteps. That was the show telling us, this is the calm before the storm. Another detail, the lighter. If you noticed, in 3 different episodes, a mysterious lighter changed hands between characters. It was engraved, small, almost meaningless. But in the scene before Nuck dies, we see it again left behind near the body. The show didn't zoom in on it, but fans caught it. Who owned that lighter last? That might be the missing piece. And, finally, the body language. Rob's hands stayed in his pockets the entire time after hearing the news. Tiffany didn't make eye contact with anyone. Douda? He didn't blink once while staring at Nuck's photo. These aren't coincidences. These are directors planting seeds, testing who's watching closely. In the Kai, silence is never empty. Looks have weight, and background moments are louder than gunshots. What seems small, a stare, a sound, a cutaway, might just be the writers shouting the truth in a whisper. What if Nuck's death wasn't the end but the spark that lights the next war? Because across the fandom, one thing is clear. This murder wasn't just about revenge. It was a calculated power move. Now fans are connecting the dots and some of the theories online are wild, but shockingly possible. Let's start with one of the boldest takes. Nuck faked his death. Some viewers believe the scene was too clean. No close-up of his face, no funeral, just blood. A quick reaction, and silence. Could this be a long game? Maybe Nuck went underground to set a trap. Maybe for Douda. Maybe even Emmett. While unlikely, the idea fits the show's habit of bending reality when it suits a bigger twist. Another theory gaining momentum is that Bakari was the trigger man but not on his own. Fans point out his recent struggles, the need to prove himself, and the way he's often caught in everyone else's crossfire. He's been underestimated all season. What if someone like Douda gave him the nod, and he took it? Out of fear or ambition? Some believe Tiffany orchestrated it all, not by pulling the trigger, but by managing the people who did. She's been silent, observant, emotionally disconnected, but never out of the loop. The theory suggests she's building quiet power, and Nuck was her first strike. And then there's the twist nobody saw coming, that Nuck was killed by someone outside the main cast. A new player, a character introduced casually, maybe someone tied to the old streets, or a forgotten grudge. This would allow Season 8 to explore new territories, maybe bring in a rival faction, or even spark a deeper war that makes Nuck's death look small in comparison. But beyond the killer's identity, one thing is certain: the Kai is changing. Nuck's death left a vacuum. And in a city like Chicago, power doesn't stay unclaimed for long. Will Douda tighten his grip? Will Emmett fall deeper into the darkness? Will someone unexpected rise? Season 8 could be the most dangerous yet. With trust broken and blood on the ground, alliances will shift. Enemies will pretend to be friends. And those who stay quiet might be the most dangerous of all.